AITA for refusing to give my $75,000 restaurant savings to my sister's Ivy League dreams. Best Reddit, am I the one for refusing to give my $75,000 restaurant savings to my sister's Ivy League dreams and getting kicked out to open my own tiny restaurant? At 25 years old, saving for years, my dream has always been to start my own restaurant. A chef, a Sorka chef, I worked toward the objective. With every cent I made from both full-time and part-time jobs after graduation, I saved $75,000 after working hard and living frugally for 7 years. Although they were a dream, my parents dismissed it as faddish in order to save money on in. And I moved them in, with them, which accelerated my goal-achieving process. Would have moved. Out back, nor looking back. Sister, golden child, my young 19-year-old sister, who is 19. She is my parents' clear favorite and is excellent at everything. They never failed to make comparisons between us, elevating him, while ignoring me. My sister Ivy Leagued to an Ivy League university last month to degree, a master's degree. Although my parents were overjoyed, the living expenses and significantly outstripped their expectations, they convened a family meeting one evening. I assumed it was to talk about my sister's acceptance, but instead they wanted me to donate all of the money I made from my business to her schooling. I was anticipating this. Anticipating there. My sister sat there. Smugly, my parents were waiting for me to agree as they gave me an eager gaze. When I was hesitant, my mother started stressing the value of education and the once-in-a-lifetime chance family comes mirist according to my dad, and I encourage her to pursue her goals. It was unbelievable to me. Wires? About the years I'd spent working hard in my dreams. I explained how much the money meant to me and how close I was to reaching my goal. When I informed, attitude changed instantly. My mother broke down in tears and accused me of being self-centered, when my dad raged that I was betraying the family and that he had always been envious of my success. His face flushed. Courage, with rage. My sister didn't state that she didn't want my money or even defend me. She obviously felt entitled to the dispute. Swiftly got out of guilt. Trip parents. Why parents? Who said that allowing rent-free was a great favor because they had given up everything for us. Conveniently, they disregarded the housework and upkeep I had performed while I was residing there. Steadfast, declaring that although I loved my sister and wanted her to succeed, I couldn't let go of my own goals. Like other students, I advised her to take out student loans or postpone for a year in order to save money. Outrage erupted in response to this suggestion for even implying that my sister should have to struggle or her education. My mother accused me of being callous. Father to my father, I should be the older brother and take care of my sister because taking out loans was too risky. The dispute inured hours worse. Always got worse. Wouldn't believe it couldn't be every error I had ever committed and every flaw my parents, in me, were brought up. They often made negative comparisons, me and my sister. It felt like long suppressed animosity was being let go at last. My father to throw me out of the house if I didn't give my sister the money. He offered me a day to choose between packing my things, transferring over my funds. I was taken aback. It was unbelievable to me that they would progress thus far. A larger part of me understood that if I gave in now I would be bitter against them for the rest of my life, but a smaller part of me wanted to give in to maintain harmony and avoid losing my family. Along with my money, I would also have to give up my goals and thens of self-worth. I tossed and turned. Considering my possibilities, I dawned on my while working, and I got to well surprised. My parents looked surprised. When they saw me, I suppose they genuinely thought I would comply with their requests. My mom tried one more time to get Willeo to change my decision while I was making my car. She warned me that I would always regret this and that I was making the biggest mistake of my life. My dad's expression was a mask of despair and rage as he stared from the up, down. At last my sister spoke up, but not to support me. She accused me of being self-centered and claimed that she was always aware of my lack of concern for her. I did care for her in spite of everything, but I couldn't burn myself alive to keep her warm, so her comments hurt more than my parents. I had a range of feelings as I drove up from the house where I grew up, including fear, sadness, and rage, but I also felt relieved. I had the impression that a burden had been removed. I had defended myself against my family's irrational expect life in for the first difficult. My life in the initial days was difficult. While I searched for an apartment, I stayed with a friend. My folks bombarded my phone with messages that alternated between violent outbursts and guilt trips. For my own peace of mind, I banned their phone numbers. When word spread around somewhat, the family opinions dived up somewhat. Family members back are irrational to claiming my parents were being irrational to others accused me of being ungrateful and self-centered. Siding with my parents, it was a complete disaster. I put myself into my restaurant plans after challenging, tiny place. It was thrilling and challenging, especially with the network of support. I believed I had had complete power over my life and my choices for the first time. Months passed. According to rumors, my sister had chosen to postpone entrance for a year in order to work and accumulate these things. I was unhappy that it justified this, but I also felt somewhat justified. Together times my parents tried to get back together, but only if I continued to pay my sister the money. I remained steadfast in my choice. Our relationship was still tense and aloof. 6 months later, I'm almost done negotiating beginning a tiny restaurant location. It's a beginning, but not much. I am reminded that I made the proper decisiveness each step I take toward realizing my ambition. However, doubts do arise as the day's thrill wanes. Late, a decision, I question whether I made the correct decision. Was I being self-centered really? Was it right of me to give up something for my sister? Was my decision to shut off communication with my family an overreaction? I am aware of my parents' poisonous and Decepticons. My sister was acting entitled, and I know it. Despite everything, I still miss them since they are my family. I can't help but question whether there was a more Reddit approach to deal with the refusing circumstance. Reddit, did you make a mistake by refusing to part with my savings? Was it aspirations? Me to maintain my ground and follow my aspirational family, even if it meant sacrificing my ties with my only, or should I have found a medium ground? Edit on this really took off overnight. I appreciate all of your feedback and encouragement. I'll be offered to answer some frequent asked questions and offered some background. Parents, sister has always been given preference retrospectively, but it has never been this obvious, and retrospectively I can see that they consistently expected me to make minor sacrifices for her. Our parents' money plus a scholarship my sister received helped to cover the cost of her undergraduate studies. They didn't expect enough saved because this master's program opportunities. Some inquired about my sister's employment opportunities. Although her field of study has significant career potential, this is not a given. It appears that my parents believe this degree will help her in the future. Cultural expectations were brought up in a few remarks, although not to this extent. It is typical in our culture for elder siblings to assist younger ones. My parents went too far according to the majority of my cousins. If you're wondering why I didn't move out, the answer is that marriage is tempting to save culture. Live with parents till marriage is common in our culture. I now see how much power this harmony grants over me. Some said that in order to maintain harmony I ought to have made a lower offer. My parents made is $75,000, that it was all or nothing. They wanted the entire $75,000. But I gave it some thought. For those who are interested in the restaurant, it will be that small establishment that specializes in fusion cuisine that blends flavors from the frightening effects of our culture heritage. It's thrilling but frightening. Many people want to know if I keep in touch with my sister. I've made several attempts to contact her, but she either ignores me or replies with brief uninteresting texts. I believe she accuses me of sabotaging her scheme on the remarks on my parents' financial status. They are not well. Financial difficulties. They live comfortably and work well. They simply didn't want to take money out of their own retirement or savings accounts. Family then, was recommended by some. I believe we all need space right now, but I'm open to it in the future. My parents have yet to admit that their desire was irrational again. I want to thank everyone for their support and insights. Hearing your viewpoints and sharing this tale has been healing. I'll keep you informed on the rest of post. Regress edit update. See, there is still interest in this post. Here is another update. I've given the remarks that I should attempt to patch things up with my sister apart from my parents a lot of thought. Yes, she is young and may yet be influenced by them. I made the decision to get in touch with her once more, this time sending anger email outlining my position. I was surprised when she answered. She wrote a confused and angry email. She acknowledged that she was conflicted about how her day did, however, ling it and wanted the chance I was denying her. She did, however, agree to the restaurant next week as discussed the matinously, see to face regarding the restaurant. Everything is moving along nicely. I completed the AITA confidence improvements underway all day. It requires a lot of work. My co-support dense and my choice grows every day. Since my friend updated, he volunteered. And I am so grateful for their support. Since their last update, my parents have not gotten in touch. According to a cousin, they are informing Reeves that I have left them even though it hurts. I'm making an effort to concentrate on the good things in my life at the moment. Some of you recommended that I write my parents a thorough letter outlining that. Thoughts and feelings after the resto again opens. I believe I'll do that. Need to put all of my attention into realizing this dream right now again. I want to thank you all for your help and guidance. It has been immensely beneficial throughout this challenge period. Update. I wanted to go. Everything has changed. Tired since my last post, which was nearly a year ago. Everything has changed, and I'm still getting used to it. The first piece of months WS is that my restaurant is now open and has now been open for around 4 cuisine. It's tiny like I always intended to have a welcoming ambient culture. A cuisine that blends regional flavors are hectic. Things now foods from our cool down, although the initial weeks were busy and hectic. Things have begun to settle down, although we haven't made a lot of money, yet dishwasher. Even in gaining a devoted cook I've even been able to hire a dishwasher. A time server and 2 line cooks every minute feels worthwhile even though now, I've been working non-stop often 14-hour days. I'm living out my dream right now. My friends and my few remaining family members' support has been crucial now for the unexpected turn of events. I heard the bell over the door ring yesterday while I was getting ready for customer dinner saying us after I announced we weren't yet open. I heard a voice I recognized saying, "I'm not here as a customer." My sister was the one. She appeared more worn, while less put together than I. Stillness. We simply stared at one, she said. For a while, unsure of what to say, the stillness was finally broken by her. She said, "I need a job." In a timid and low voice, "I was wondering if you had any openings." I was taken aback. The last thing I anticipated was this. For the first time in months we had a conversation when I encouraged her to expect it. As it happened, her life had not as planned. Finding a job in her predecession proved more difficult. She had league pected, especially without Ivy degree she had been banking on. She had postponed her enrollment to the Ivy League Institute hoping to work for a year and save money. She informed me that our parents were still upset with me. They accused me of sabotaging her opportunity to receive a prestigious job, agree to pay for her education. They had been pressuring her to acquire a well-paying job, but she was starting to feel the effects of the strain. Unable to cope with their continual disappointment, she hosted their home a month ago. I could see how much she had changed as she spoke. The hostess finished, and in its place came a humility I had never witnessed in her. She expressed regret for not defend money. Too had honest. D acknowledged depressed, had been mistaken to feel entitled to lost money. To be honest, I was a little depressed. We were sad about the time we had lost. I was saddened by the washer. Your family had dinner. Integrated. I plan to give the behavior more thought. Name, get back to her. I'm conflicted now. On the one hand, her previous behaviors? However, it is me, and I'm in concession. Hiring her could cause Nethashektika reopen old ones. However, she is requesting assistance, and she is my sister. For the hectic weekend shifts I could also use an additional server. I have not yet made up my mind. I can't help but think what my parents would say if they found out she had turned to me for support. I question whether this is an opportunity to begin mending our relationship or if it's a recipe for catastrophe. On Reddit. Transpired. Ed, of your counsel once more. Do I need to hire my sister after everything that has transpired? Is it prudent to combine family and business? Should I advise her to search elsewhere instead? I never imagined myself in this situation, deciding on my sister's destiny. I suppose life has a way of taking you by surprise. Any opinions or suggestions would be greatly valued. Last update. A few weeks have passed since my last post, and I've come to a decision I never would have imagined. I've made the decision to assist in paying for my sister's schooling after giving it some serious thought and having several lengthy discussed. Surprise, her listener name. That considering all more has transpired, thus this may come as a surprise, but listen to me. We began communicating time frequently after my sister's restaurant, and asked for a job. I knew it would be, however, difficult to combine chats about business at this time, so I didn't hire her at the restaurants. However, I saw from our chats about how much self-developed and evolved over the previous 12 months. She acknowledged that she had been entitled and self-centered during the family argument and expressed regret for her actions. She informed me that the previous year had served as a wake-up call for her struggle to make ends meet while working many. She had wage jobs. Changed her outlook on the importance of hard effort and money. Her statement that she now realized why my restaurant idea meant so much to me was what truly got to me. She had never before respected education. Amount of labor I had put into making it reality. I also discovered that our parents continued to put pressure on her to pay for her education, making her feel inadequate for not being able to do it. On thinking, brought deciding memories of the years I spent feeling below their standards. Tuition. It is a lot of thinking. Before deciding, I assured her that I would cover all of her next year's tuition. Although it's not the entire debt, my parents had previously requested it's illicizable. Chosen that this would enable her to begin her master's program without being deeply indebted. What made I chose to do this? I didn't do it because I felt guilty or obligated to. It's because I witnessed my sister's real transformation. I noticed someone who was making an effort to improve herself after learning some difficult lessons. In the end, I came to the realization that I did want to assist operation her if I could not at the restaurants, but in a way that seemed right to me. I can now afford this without putting my restaurant's operation at risk of being emotional, because it is sheng well enough bald. On my own terms is a pleasant feeling. When I told my sister, she became quite emotional. She sobbed and gave me a hug, saying she would work part-time to pay for her living expenses and that she would reimburse me eventually. Informed, take full advantage of this channel is the response. Way to repay me. Our parents haven't been informed, yet I have no idea how they will respond. I am certain that my choice will remain the decision, less of right. My sister and I are the only ones involved. I'm content with this decision. It feels right, even if it's not what I expected. Life occasionally offers you the opportunity to change how your narrative ends. I own this.